Hey Chris, Terry Dyer here. I'm the mortgage broker that you spoke to a little while ago on the phone, and thanks for giving me a call back then. And I had a second here to put this information together for you so that you'd better understand what it is that I'm talking about. And why I do a video is so that I can be as transparent as possible. It's hard to understand sometimes what somebody's talking about when they're talking numbers and, debt to income and DTI and, loan to value, and you having owned a couple houses, those numbers probably, ring familiar to you, but to others, they really can be somewhat confounding. So anyway, moving forward, what I received from LendingTree, Chris, from your inquiries that you're looking for a property value of about $975,000. And as you and I spoke, you're considering doing either 20% down or maybe looking to minimize the cost of entry and doing first and a second or 15% down. In this case, I did a second for you, and I calculated 80% first or 20% down, and then a 10% second, okay? So the way we do that is called a piggyback. It's an 80-10-10, and I have my lender up here that we do these loans with. Let's see if I can expand this. Doesn't look like I can, but there we go. So 800 plus credit score, you're going to be at 3/4 point over prime. Prime, I don't know what it is, about 5.5 today or something like that. A lot of volatility in the market right now, but that doesn't have anything to do with prime. But 30-year fixed rates are dropping, so hopefully in the next couple of days we'll see a better decrease. But anyway, you're 3/4 point over prime on that second, okay? Now, like any HELOC, the HELOC this is a 20-year loan or 25-year loan, but anyway, the first 10 years are interest only, okay? So you have 25 years. First 10 years are interest only, and that's your draw period, and the balance of that 25-year period is 15 years. And after your 121st payment, that the line becomes closed or locked, rather. You can't take any more money out of it if you have any available, and then it becomes a fully amortized loan. And that's how HELOC works, okay? Most people don't have it for more than a couple of years. 5-6 years, your house appreciates, you end up, like if you're like most people, incorporating the HELOC into a new first or selling. So that's how I came up with these numbers here. Move back over here. In other words, that's where that 10% is going to come from. It's from that company. So let's go down here, okay? Because what happens is I have a 45-day lock period. If it's 30 days, sometimes the rebate is a little bit higher. I'll explain that in just a second. I'm assuming you're looking for someplace in Scripps Ranch, although the zip code is not critical. And I'm working with the lenders that I prefer to work with because so many of these are just so challenging, and there's just so many more loans seem to fall out than actually close. So endeavoring to find as smooth a situation and transaction for my clients as possible, I work for those lenders that provide that via the customer service and just having good reps and so forth. I'm sure you can appreciate that. Okay, so let's move down the list of lenders that are kind of vying for your business. And what we're going to see over here, Chris, are the names of the lenders, NewRez and NewFi. And these two guys, what this is this our conduit to Wells Fargo. This is a Wells Fargo loan. And again, this is based on your 80-10-10, okay? So they're looking at a CLTV of 90%. And they're going to price this loan, in this case, NewRez or Wells Fargo. Notice they have these priced fairly similarly. And what you're looking at over here is our comp plan. And what that is how much these lenders pay Hansen Loans. We're paid a percentage of the dollar volume that we send through these lenders. So it doesn't matter what your interest rate is. Your interest rate goes higher, you get a bigger rebate. Your interest rate goes lower, or you just go with the wrong lender. I mean, you have to go with know what lender is going to offer the better rebate. So in this case, NewRez or Wells Fargo via NewRez is going to give you a rebate of only $70 at 4 3/4. But if somebody that you're talking to that worked at United Wholesale, they're going to have their 4 3/4 today is going to cost $13,000. So, my job is to find for you who is the most competitive lender in the market today. And that's what I've just done. So, you have 100 other people calling you telling you that they are, but I'm showing you who is. So what I'm going to do is just raise this rate a little bit so that you can see how we can capture more money from the lender that we can use for your closing costs. So this rebate here is based, as I said, exclusively on this interest rate, and this money goes 100% to you. I have nothing to do with it. My income or the loan compensation going to Hansen Loans doesn't change. unless the loan amount changes. Okay, so the thing to look at here is 4.4 7/8 is only paying $2,500 back to you. So you're almost at 5% for only $2,500 credit, and that's because of this. Excuse me, that's because of the AT1010. If you just did a first, didn't have that combo, then let's see what it does. 4.875 goes from a $2,500 credit to bada bing. Holy cow, that's $21,000. That makes a huge difference. Gosh, shocking, isn't that? So anyway, if you don't have a second on there, then the lender sees a lot less risk, and that's what this number is. It's a perception of risk. The bigger the rebate they're paying at 4.875, so the better the risk profile you seem to be reflecting. Okay, so this is Wells Fargo again. Let's press on this and see how far we can go. We can go all the way to 4 1/4, 30-year fixed, and get you $6,700 credit towards your closing cost. If you wanted to, this is what I sometimes do with people, my clients. We actually closed at a higher rate, at 4 5/8 in this case, so they would get $16,000 in closing costs, and they would use that money to set up their impound account, taxes, insurance, all that stuff. So you can pay a higher rate, get a lot of money from the lender. We can use that to pay your closing cost, with the thought in mind, Chris, that we're going to come back in 6 months and we're going to refinance this loan to the lower rate that's available at the time. And what that will have done for us is it will have decreased your cost of entry, because we will have gotten this $16,000 from the lender at 4 5/8 versus $6,000 from the lender at 4 1/4. So it's like an extra 10 grand. Now it's your option. You don't have to do that, of course. It's up to you. But you do take the risk that rates will be higher in 6 or 7 months than they are right now, in which case you wouldn't be looking to refinance. You'd kind of be stuck with that rate. So there are inherent risks. It is a gamble, but it's a gamble for, like, I don't know, 4 3/4 is like $13,000, and you're waiting a few months. So I don't see anything in the horizon right now that says the rates are going to be skyrocketing. As a matter of fact, it looks like they might actually be lower if you're checking out the action in the market today. But anyway, so that's your option. You can go with, in this case, you can do the 20% down, right, and get yourself the much larger rebate, and you can go at something like 4 3/4 or 4 5/8. Get that huge seller credit, right, or lender credit of $16K. That's all your money, right? And then, like I said, if we had done this loan for you 6 months ago, you said, hey, Terry, it's time to refinance this loan. Well, then I'd be coming back around and refinancing the loan today at 4 1/4 and get you $6,700, so that you still wouldn't have any cost incurred with even the refinance. Okay? So as your broker, what I'm trying to do here is get you into your home with the least amount of money out of your pocket, and have a little bit of a plan, so going forward we can massage the cost of this home ownership. Okay, Chris, so I had to stop for a second. Hopefully this is working. Coming back around to the numbers here, I have 4 7/8 right there. Okay, you're getting not a lot of rebate there, doing the 80-10-10 that we've been discussing, 80-10-10. So the payment on the 80-10-10, assuming a $97,000 interest only second, that's like 6 1/4 interest only for first 10 years, and then a 15-year repayment period, which will be fully amortized. Okay, property taxes are 1 1/4% of the property value, purchase price. That's going to give PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance of you see it, $57.08. However, if we went back and got rid of the subordinate financing, so keep in mind that payment of $57.08. Okay. Subordinate financing of 0 and $57.08. 4.375. Yeah, so your payment drops like $800 or $900 a month if you can come in with a full 20%. Yes, that's what it looked like to me, right? So, yeah, because of the higher rate, let's just double check that. 4 3/8. Sorry, I was looking at property there. 4 3/8. This is yours, right? Yeah, 4 3/8. Well, we can just go down here and look. GMAC, ERES. There it is. Yeah, okay, so if you came in at 20% down, you could do a rate of 4 3/8, or at 4 3/4, or 4 7/8, you're getting $19,000 back. That's what it was. So you get so much more money back that it makes a lot of sense to, if at all possible, to come in with the 20%. Because if not, it's going to cost you all that money. Not cost you because you're not going to get it, but you wouldn't get that money from the rebate if you did the 80-10-10, right? So we did this a 90, and instead of getting the $20,000 back on the 80-10-10, not only do you have that payment of like $600 or $700, $550 interest only, and you have to get rid of it the second, right? You lose, wow, all that rebate goes away. So it makes a giant difference in the pricing. So clearly in your best interest to get that 20% down. If you have any questions, give me a call. I'm always around. Let's bounce some ideas off me if you have any questions. Let me help you get this loan done, okay? There's a lot of guys out there going to call you. They're all going to promise you a low rate, or at least some will, right? The fact of the matter is, this is Wells Fargo. I don't make this up. It isn't my rate. And if somebody else is quoting a lower rate, where are they getting it from? The chances of somebody actually closing at a rate significantly lower than mine is pretty rare, actually. So I might be a few $1,000s off in closing cost, or a few $1,000s lower, but I'm usually always right in the sweet spot as far as getting these loans closed, okay? Most importantly, getting the loans closed is the operative statement there, or part of the statement, because that's what I do. All right, Chris, hopefully we'll chat. Thanks.